Yeah, that's right. Happy Friday. Welcome in, welcome back, folks. Maybe the phone lines will work this Friday, unlike last Friday. I'm still mad about it. I'm not gonna lie. Good morning, welcome in. I'm happy to have the group here. I'm just still mad last Friday. Of all days to have the phone lines not work, it had to be St. Patrick's Day. That's just the way it goes. But we're another Friday back. The phone lines are gonna be working. And we already have a few callers lined up. I don't know if they're just excited to talk to me. I highly doubt it. Who would be? Totally understandable. But we got some people that want to talk about spring ball, I believe. So here's the deal, really open format today. Really open format. I just want to know any early spring thoughts you have. Now that we got a day and a half, 2 days of reports from spring, beat writers that are there. We saw a little bit of video footage. I've seen what the people have been writing. You're getting an idea of who they're originally running out there with some of these position groups. All of that is very informative to just kind of give us an idea of where we're starting from this spring. So I've been saying it the last month. The best thing that could happen for Notre Dame after what I perceive to be kind of a rocky winter in a lot of ways off the field is to get in here and have some good reporting on actual football. I love it, and I'm excited to hear it. Okay, so I want to get through my stuff real quick here and get to the phone lines, give you guys some time. So YouTube, obviously you're here. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet. I don't know why most of you are here every day, why you wouldn't have done that yet. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps me as well. Notifications on. That way you're alerted every time a new episode drops. You don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar, Always Irish Rat. Always Irish Inc. Emails, alwaysirishindy@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you can find me. Call-in line 312-900-8815. Tell Johnny all you heard and seen. Fighting Irish Wire every day. Tune in, see what's up. You guys have no idea how much fun I have with the introduction. Like, I'm like, sometimes my maturity level, I don't think has changed since I was like 17. Just one of my favorite radio guys in Chicago when I was growing up that I listened to every day. It was the funny noises and the weird way to say things that I loved that made it different. And here I am doing the same thing 25 years later. It's just fun. So I will never apologize for it, nor will I ever change it. So welcome in, everybody. Here's another thing I want to add in the mix. This is new. I just started seeing this the last day, really. Has anybody put in the chat? Has anybody been seeing not the local, but the national media tour? Captain Jack and Father John are on talking about the bastardization of NIL. I thought it was super interesting. Phone call banks starting to load up. I'm going to go to you after this point to get you guys going because I know you have busy days. I want to let you have your piece. You could drop off, and then I'll go through some of my notes. But I want to kind of change how I'm doing the call-in thing, not make people wait as long. I know not everybody could sit there all day in the line. For me to yak for 25 minutes, I get it. So I'm going to try and do that. But it wasn't local. This was national. Captain Jack and John, it was the Today Show. So that is like not even football, like big picture world stuff on the Today Show. And then it was an op-ed in the New York Times, the fancy newspaper. I forget which one, but I know the video one was the Today Show. So that's not even sports. We're just talking big picture, everything. And they were there talking about, NIL and Jack, his line is, we're for these guys getting compensated, but not the way that these other schools are doing it. Obviously, it's pay for play. So those guys went on that media tour talking about that. And there's been a mixed reaction from it in our own fan base, and the outside one isn't mixed. I'll get to it. Inside the fan base, it's like, yeah, Jack, yes. You mean to tell me that you're doing interview rounds telling everybody What's going on when every single person with a functioning brain knew this was going to be the direct result from NIL from the beginning? Everybody knew that. Everybody knew that. So, like, when the NIL thing first came up, it was like, well, this is just going to turn into pay for play like it has been, but kind of legal. Pay for play's been a thing for my whole life. It just hasn't been legal. And so this just kind of provided an angle to do that. So I get it. Jack's not wrong. John's not wrong. They're stating what's happening, that it's not in the spirit of NIL what's happening. How you regulate it, I don't understand. I don't know how you regulate this. Think about it, you guys. How do you regulate this? Oh, we're making a cap. You can only offer $500,000 a year per guy. That's the max. Okay, the $500,000 is what everybody knows about. The other $500,000 comes in the McDonald's bag under mom's porch. Old school, like my whole life before this NIL stuff. That's what's going to happen. People want regulation. Put a cap on it. Then you're just going to get that amount up front and the rest of it behind the scenes in a duffel bag. For the last 35 years, that's how they've had to do it. They already know how to do that. So I get it's good media, like, Notre Dame's out there and what they're stating is true. It's just, one, not surprising, and two, there's no way to stop it. Regulation isn't going to do anything unless they actually nail people doing it dirty. And it doesn't seem like anybody really wants to go guns blazing and figure that out. So they're not wrong. Everything Jack and John said, I agree with. I just don't know how you're going to change it. I don't know how you're going to change it, because even regulation's going to have workarounds the old school way. So internally, I saw people like, it's good to see our guys out and doing that and getting that attention. Other people were like, I don't want to see you. Just, I don't need to be preached to by you. I saw that too. And then from the outside, phone calls coming up next, 1 minute. From the outside, the response was very, very clear. And every direct message I got from opposing fans that I'm kind of friendly with, not friends, but friendly. So no Michigan people, but other people that I don't fully hate. They were all saying to me, these guys aren't helping your holier than thou reputation around the country by sitting up there in their moral high authority Catholic stuff, preaching down to everybody else. Nobody likes that, especially coming from the church, being told what to do and the high and mighty and a holier than thou. So that's the part of it nationally that was interesting to me. If you put in almost any other school, it doesn't hit the same. But Notre Dame, with the religiosity and all that and the morals and all that, from the outside, all those other fans that reached out to me were like, here you guys go with your holier than thou, and you're crying because you don't land these guys, and now you're preaching down to us, and you're only doing this because you don't do the NIL, and you're crying about it. From people who hate Notre Dame, that's exactly what I expect to get. It is. So anyways, anybody who has a thought about that, let me know. Okay. Feel free to let me know. All right. I'm going to get back to roll call and reading through some of the chats. But we're going to do a couple phone calls first. Sean Duffy, I'm going to get you next. And then we got 574-937-260. You're going to be the first three up. 574, it's been a while. You're on the air. What's up, Craigie?
Hey, John, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's really good. I know you're usually on the road working hard when this show is on, so I wanted to give you a chance when I saw the name. And first things first, I hope I'll see you in a few weeks at Blue and Gold. You going to go if the weather's good?
Yeah, absolutely. Weather pending. I'll be out there. I've got it in the calendar. Looking forward to hanging out with you if that's what you want to do. Beautiful. That's going to be the plan for the day as long as the weather's decent. If it's miserable, I'm not going. If it's good, we're going to get a big group and have a good time. Craig, what's on your mind with spring ball starting? I'm just glad to have football and not have all these like behind the scenes things that there's no real answer to, like that drive you nuts.
What are you looking for this spring? What have you seen from a day and a half, 2 days? Like, where's your mind at?
Yeah, well, I think, like we've been texting back and forth this week, and that I hate this 2 QB red zone package idea. It disrupts flow, disrupts rhythm. We need to pick a lane here. And like, what are we thinking? Like, Hartman's going to be an 80-yard QB. And if that's the case, if I'm Hartman, when I'm at the 21-yard line, I'm not letting it get into the red zone. I'm going to go for the end zone and score. You've got 4 running backs for the red zone. You don't need Buckner in there with his legs because we got 4 guys with great legs. I don't, and people are talking about Hartman for Heisman. I think it's a legit argument. But I don't know any Heismans that won the Heisman with a QB2 backup doing red zone packages.
All right. So, this is
we need to pick a lane here, man.
It's an interesting topic, and it's one that's been rattling around in my mind. Let me ask you this. 260, I'll get you in before your time limit. Thanks for the donation. I'll get you. Here's where I'm at with that. And I've been playing around with this. How much of that do you believe is the staff trying to keep Buckner engaged and in a positive mindset, since he has had a string of unfortunate timing and injuries and circumstance since late high school? How much of that is them trying to keep him happy so Hartman doesn't win the job, and then Buckner goes, forget this, I'm going to play somewhere. And then Notre Dame's in a position next year starting all over with young guys you don't know what you're going to get, and that whole cycle repeats from the beginning. I'm asking you, how much of that is something they have to worry about? Because these guys could transfer and play right away. Buckner could leave after spring if you don't like the way things look. So how much of that is in these guys' minds when they're building out this offense?
Look, if that's in their mind, it's the wrong mindset, because look, I want to win a national championship. I'm not worried about pampering Tyler Buckner. So do what you got to do to score touchdowns, win the national championship. You want to pamper Tyler Buckner, you put him in a red zone package, and then he throws a 100-yard pick six. Where does that get you? It annoys me so bad. I'm so frustrated about it. Like, why are we even thinking about this?
Yeah, well, and but I think, Craig, you're a little worked up about that, and I love it this early in the morning. But I think the answer to that is times have changed. You no longer are second string, and your option is bide your time, practice hard, wait for your opportunity, or leave and go sit out a year as a penalty and then go play. Like, those days are over, and these coaches now have to consider placation and doing enough to keep certain guys happy that they're going to want and need in a later year. And that is a new consideration that these coaches have to think about. And I guarantee you it's a part of this. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, though. If I'm Hartman, I'm the 6th-year guy. You guys wanted me here because of my skill set. When we get down in the scoring zone, you should want my skill set more than ever. I could totally get that too. I get it.
But listen, Kirby Smart's not doing that. Nick Saban isn't doing that. When Nick Saban was having the challenges with Jalen Hurts, he pulled him at halftime and put Tua in there. Like, he's not running Tua for red zone packages. So I don't understand it, especially when you've got 4 strong running backs like we have. Like, you got to pick a lane. What you think Hartman's? Let's say they're at the 1-yard line, at their own 1-yard line, and Hartman runs at 7 or gets them down there 79 yards or 80 yards, and then you're going to throw Buckner in there.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Now, let me ask you this.
And rhythm and
let me ask you this on a practical level, like not how this is making you think about all that, but on a practical level, could you see the tactical advantage in getting down there with Hartman running a more traditional looking thing, and then you're running Buckner out there, and then they don't know if he's keeping the ball or pitching it or handing it off, and then it spreads the defense out? Like, do you see any practical benefit to doing that to keep a defense honest and spread them out? Or do you just worry you're going to have rhythm and then you're messing it up, you're asking for bad things to happen?
Yep, to me it portrays weakness and you're just trying to get cute. And how's that worked out for us?
Hey, Craig,
It's never worked out.
Craig,
I'm tired of it, man. Nobody can convince me. I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
One QB. Let's stick with it.
Well,
We've done this
especially
before, and it doesn't go good.
I think your argument makes a lot more sense this year since everybody feels pretty good about the one guy it would be too. You're not like pushing for all the snaps to go to a guy we don't even know if is decent at all. I feel like with this guy, you have a pretty good idea. Craig, look at this.
Yeah.
Cousin Luke, who I'm not sure if he loves me, hates me, loves Notre Dame, hates Notre Dame. I don't know. He writes in the chat, John plants callers to push his narrative. Is that what happened, Craig? Did I call you early this morning? And I said, Craig, I'm going to be really nervous and I'm not going to be able to handle the show unless you lead right into what I want to talk about. Hit me up, bro.
No, heck no. We've been texting about it back and forth all week, and you and I are on different pages. And so, no, you did not plant me in here to push your narrative because your narrative is different than my opinion on this one. I agree with you 99.9% of the time. This is the one thing I don't agree with.
I just get why, Craig. Craig, I get why. Like, that's the big thing to me is practically if it makes the most sense or not. We could debate till the cows come home, and some of that's going to depend on how it goes when it happens too. But when I ask why it's happening, it makes total logical sense to me because there's a practical argument you don't agree with, but about mixing up a look for a defense and spreading them out with Buckner's legs. I'm not about to bring Buckner in there and then tell him to start throwing the ball all over, not his expertise. So I want to be specific about what his roles are going to be. I'm not saying never throw it, but Hartman's the throwing one, all right? But I get why they're doing it. They feel like they got to keep Buckner happy because he's a big part of next year's stability. And I'm just telling you that's how they're doing this.
Well, we've been pampering guys for the last, 35 years. We haven't won a national championship, so I'm over that. You've got Hartman, who's a legitimate Heisman candidate. You're going to pull him out in the red zone. Doesn't make sense to me. This guy, and you have a valid point. Like, it's different this year than last year. I may not be saying this if this were last year because of what we had last year, but this year you've got Hartman. And, this isn't the statue standing back there either, like we had a couple years ago. So, this guy is legit. Has everyone seen his numbers? I mean, come on. You're going to pull him out in the red zone?
Craig, can I ask you a real question?
Thing with Buckner?
Let me ask you this question. The other day when I was live, the first photos were coming out from practice. And one of the first ones was a picture of those quarterbacks, and it was Hartman and Buckner. And a bunch of people in the chat were writing, did you see this picture, John? What do you have a reaction to that picture? I was live and I didn't have the ability to look it up right away. And then I saw it. Have you seen the picture I'm referencing with those two guys?
Yep, I did.
Do you have any immediate reaction to that when you see it, just looking at it? What were your thoughts?
I do. Yeah, I do. I saw that picture and I'm like, wow. I mean, I love Tyler Buckner. I'm sure he's a good guy. He's a great athlete. And he could be a QB1 if Hartman's not there, in my opinion. And when I saw that picture, I'm like, wow, Hartman looks like a dude. He looks like a man. And Buckner, he looks like a boy. So I don't know. That's the impression I got of it. But that doesn't matter. It's like, what are we going to see who's going to give us the best shot on the field to win a national championship? Like, that's all I think about now. Like, being pampering and Mr. Nice Guy, and we don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, and we're afraid they're going to transfer. Well, we've got a strong quarterback room now, so if Tyler wants to transfer, I hope he doesn't. But if he does, I mean, we've got peeps in there, man. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, man, I like seeing you have an angle this hard. I wasn't expecting that, Craig. I like that you're getting all worked up about it. And you know what else? Those wide receivers are trending up, and I expect that to continue. That's going to help. We feel really good about the running backs. Flexing Tyree into that slot makes all the sense in the world in terms of carry distribution, getting everybody involved, and then having another guy that's been around that you could kind of trust to join the wide receiver group. All of that stuff's trending up. It should be exciting on offense.
Flores. Oh, my goodness. I saw Flores I saw his highlights, and man, I'm so excited about Flores and Greathouse. Like he's freshman. I didn't see anything on Brandon James, so I want to see some of that too. I am so excited about this wide receiver core.
Yeah,
what is going to be coming?
A couple different people I trust that do like the recruiting and look at the development and all this. They said they wouldn't be surprised if Rico Flores and Greathouse push for snaps, if not like right away, but they're in the mix. And then Braylon James, from what I understand, body needs a little work. And Flores and Greathouse seem to be a little ahead of him in that regard with getting their bodies where they want them to be. I think all of that's trending up. It's just getting Parker to blend together with all the new dynamics and the new O-line guy and just having it all kind of come together. That's what this spring's about. Find some rhythm on this offense.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the comments here. Dude,
I know.
I'm getting hammered. This is hilarious.
I know.
This is freaking hilarious.
I know.
What's wrong with you people?
Now I'm getting accused of planting the callers. And then Cousin Luke, why, if somebody disagrees, do you call them a troll? I don't call anybody who disagrees with me a troll unless there's somebody who just disagrees with every single thing against Notre Dame just to make me mad, which is what Cousin Luke does half the time. What's next year going to be? 5-7, John. Wake up, 5-7. Like, I just can't win. I can't win. I was the too negative guy. I was the too negative guy all through Kelly. Now I'm the positive guy. I don't know, man.
Yeah, but how are people calling me a troll when I'm talking about wanting to win a national championship, win games? I mean, come on, I'm talking about a Heisman Trophy candidate, and I want him in there, and I'm a troll. Like, come on, people. Like, John, you know me. You know I grew up 10 minutes from Notre Dame.
Yes, you did.
It's in my blood, and that's all I talk. When you and I are together, that's all we talk about. I want to win national championships, and that's it. So call me a troll all you want. Hey,
all right, you troll. Whatever. Fine, you troll. Whatever. I'll see you in a few weeks, man. Troll.
All right.
Anything else, Craig? Right. What do you want to finish? Give us a bang on the way out. What do you got?
No, that's it, man. I'm so sorry. I have a dentist appointment here, so
I was wondering why you were available. I was wondering why you were available at this time. I was thinking something must be up with his schedule. I'm glad to have you, though, Craig. I'll see you in a few weeks, man. Go get drilled on.
All right, buddy. All right, buddy.
See ya.
Right, thanks, man.
Later.
Take care. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the platform. You rock.
Thanks, care, Craig. See you in a couple weeks. Listen, I can't help it that the people I've met over time through this show and then met up with for a drink at a tailgate over these years, those are the ones that want to call me. It makes perfect sense. Like, I'm sorry. It's not, if you really think I get up in the morning and text people and go, you got to call me today because I don't know if I'll have enough material. Give me a break, man. Oh, all right. 260. You're my hero. What's going on?
Hey, good morning, John. Got your text this morning. I figured I'd call in and join the show and say what's up.
That's what yeah, exactly. I just send everybody out a secret message, and then I give you the lines to say to make sure it all goes with my narrative, too.
Yes, I got your email, so I know the talking points. I got a master, so we should be able to rock and roll this morning. What do you say?
Beautiful, beautiful. So what do you think of early spring here? Anything. You could shoot any direction. I just want to get a feel of where people are at as we get into this.
All right. I'll first and foremost, glad to actually connect with you. It's been a while. I hope that all is well. Hopefully, this adventure, Notre Dame football, is treating you well in this new, your endeavor that you're doing.
I really appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'm going to be honest. The winner was kind of good because there wasn't games, but we had a lot going on. So it did drive traffic because there was still interest. However, I don't like a lot of how the winter felt. And so I'm ready to get to spring. There was a lot of negativity or at least questions that I didn't like and didn't feel good. And I'm excited to get to the action, man.
I hear you, man. Hope springs eternal.
Yep.
It's a great time of year. And how I look at it is like this. So I love spring because baseball starts up. I know you're a Sox fan. I'm a White Sox fan as well. So, something to do over the summer. Plus, you got spring ball. Having played this, I mean, essentially how I look at spring ball is this. Okay, you understand who your starters are, all right, for the most part, going in, and you just want them to get their reps. You want the quarterback to get timing with receivers, make sure they can hand the ball off to the running back. You're not really going deep into the playbook. You're just essentially doing surface level stuff. And then you're trying to figure out what you got. And these question marks is not only can this person play necessarily this year, but do you actually see them as a player maybe that you're following or even down the line? If not, then you start having those type of conversations at the end of spring where, look, oh, by the way, yeah, you might have a future in college football, but it's not here. And so I'm still waiting for the shoe to drop. Who is going to be off this roster? Because it's coming. Because, I mean, that's like the last thing these players do when spring wraps up after the blue and gold game. They're going to have a one-on-one meeting with Marcus Freeman. He's going to sit him down, and he seems like he's a direct guy, so he's going to let them know where they stand. And do not be surprised if you see another 5, 6, whatever players entering transfer portal around May.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's the way it goes in the modern era. And, so yeah, I mean, that's the way it goes. And I'm sure that's the process that happened with Drew Pine, that they sat down with them and then talked about, here's where we're at. And everybody was on the same page and do what you need to do. So I think that's just a part of the modern process. And so we're going to have it shake out and then we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, with spring ball, again, you want to see your flashy new toys. Who could be that up and coming player? I don't really take much into it. I mean, unless the biggest thing I look for, injuries. And what I mean by that's kind of twofold. One, the people who are going to be contributors who've been injured last year, where are they at?
So you're telling me, wait, time out. You're telling me it's not ideal to have your starting quarterback fall down the stairs before the blue and gold game again? You're telling me that's not ideal? Exactly. Who the hell are you to say that that's not ideal? I just couldn't believe it, man. I couldn't believe it. I go, finally, it's Buckner's time to shine. I want to see him throw the ball all over, and the guy twisted his ankle down the stairs. I can't handle it. It's too much.
Last man.
Oh,
last
shit.
Man. Some people are. Unfortunately, some people just get bit by the injury bug, and it's not. It just derails.
Luck in the Irish. Luck in the Irish. My backside for Buckner. Right. Bad timing, bad luck, bad injury since high school. It has just been rough, and I feel for the guy because he's a good kid and he's a tough competitor who gives his all. We're just in a tough position right now where you need to know what you're going to get out of the quarterback. Oh.
Exactly.
What do you make? All right. Well, that leads me into it. That leads me into it. What do you make of this quarterback deal? Is it a competition only in name only and it's Hartman? What do you make of this?
What I make of it is called spring ball. Okay. And by spring ball, you're figuring out what you have. You know what? You already know who your starter is. And I said it before in the show, and I'll say it again. Sam Hartman is the starting quarterback. Okay, there is going to be no debate. That is what's going to happen. Over in Dublin in August, guess what? He will be taking the snaps. God forbid an injury. I'm not trying to jinx him, but that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
With that being said, he is what you got basically Buckner one injury away. In the spring is the perfect time to see who your backups are in terms of who can actually contribute for you. Maybe not necessarily this year, but next year. That's what spring is about. It's not, what you have. Okay. If I'm Fisher, if I'm Diggs, I'm not worried about that. I'm getting my reps in. I'm worried about not getting injured. I'm worried about my reps. I'm worried about my timing. I'm not worried about, am I going to start? Am I going to play? That's not a thing. Okay. So every Saturday they'll scrimmage, and what they're scrimmaging is they'll have the ones in or who they think will be the ones. They'll run it, but then the twos get about as many reps as the ones do. So it's one of those things where it's just like, look, it is what it is. Sam Hartman's going to be the starting quarterback. Buckner's going to be the backup. That sort of thing.
Yeah. And
that's how I look at it.
And that's kind of, honestly, that's how I read it. Even just from the reporting of the beat guys that have been there for a couple practices, it's heavily leaning that way, which I think is what most people expected it to be. Let me ask you this. We talked about offense and like getting your reps in and doing all that. And we kind of know pretty much who's going to do what. I think it's a different scenario on the defense. I think there should be a lot of trial and experimentation with the linebackers, moving guys around, different personnel blends, work on whatever you need to work on to get a little more put together in that group. And then on that defensive line, I mean, whoever can hold the line or get penetration plays to me, because you need help there. You lost 4, your 6 top tacklers from the D-line are gone, and over half your sacks are gone from last year. Your most experienced 100%. Returning player on the D-line has 33 tackles, and it's Howard Cross. And after that, it's Riley Mills at 24. 4, your 6 top guys are gone. That is where I'm looking this spring. Who in the hell is going to hold that line?
Yep. And as you and I discussed, this is back before the bowl game, when you asked me what on the offseason, what am I looking at? I went directly towards defense.
Yeah.
Defense has been my concern, even with Pine theoretically still in the roster, who could possibly be the starting quarterback going into this year. Obviously, we know how that played out.
Yeah.
The question I have is, are we really going to a 3-3-5? I should say, is Notre Dame really going to a 3-3-5 defense? Because if that's the case, who the hell is the nose guard? Like, if you're going to go 3-3-5, you have to have a monster at nose. And by monster, it's not just the person is good at doing the job. That individual has to be huge.
Yeah.
Okay. If not, think of Syracuse. Syracuse plays a 3-3-5. And guess what Notre Dame did? They ran over their 265-pounder that was that nose guard and sent his ass flying back into the linebacker. So the linebackers are mute if you're going to a 3-3-5 without nose guard. All right.
All right. Now, wait. Now, is it true? I've seen this come up in discussions, and people that know a lot more than X's and O's and schematics than I do will say, relax. Notre Dame people relax. They might call it a 3-3-5, but they're going to be in so many sub packages with extra guys on the field coming up to the line to do stuff. Like, don't let that bother you. Like, that's what I've heard as a response to that worry.
Okay. And guess what I'm doing as an offensive coordinator? I'm going up tempo. I mean, again, people forget there's another team across the sidelines that will adjust their play calling. It's not necessarily X's and O's and lining people up. It's how fast are you playing, getting the calls in.
Yeah.
If you understand that Notre Dame is going to attack you on offense by high substitution rate, that's a simple fix. If I'm an offense coordinator, I'm going up tempo to counteract that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I listen, it makes me a little nervous. Just the concept in my mind of a 3-3-5 causes me instant anxiety, because I just feel like you're giving up something at the point of attack, which to me is where every play starts and you want to finish it. It just makes me a little nervous to feel like you're conceding something up front. And I get that that's like not how it should play out, but it makes me a little nervous. And the bodies, I need a Lewis Nix. Where is that guy?
Yeah.
We don't have a body like that. We don't have a big body dude in there.
You need a monster. I mean, you need a monster. And not only a monster, you got to have edge rushers that can play run, but also get to the quarterback. And who is that on this roster when I look at it? I don't know. There's Jean Baptiste. Okay, that's great. I'm sure he can
Jean Baptiste.
Well, Jean Baptiste,
yeah.
Which I'm sure he can rush the edge, but my understanding is that dude gets blown off the ball during the rush. So, okay, I'm glad that he can come in on 3rd and long when everyone, knows essentially.
So who could get after it? Who could get after it? You want Botello? Like, question. It's about Botello needs to get after the quarterback. That's always supposed to have been his expertise. Now's the time we need him off the edge. Let's see that coming from wherever they're going to put him. But really, like, I am sorry. I'm not trying to be a certain way, man, but Howard Cross and Riley Mills as my anchors there makes me a little nervous. And I don't think it's anything against them. It's not anything against them. It's just, I think we got used to the Adamalola twins and Foskey and these guys, and you kind of knew what you were going to get. And I think maybe I took that for granted, because when I see that as the front line guys, I'm getting nervous. That is in depth. That's your front line guys. And then, God forbid, one of them twists an ankle. Who's running out there next? Me? Like, come on.
Yep. I don't know, man. That's why defense is my biggest concern. I just saw it as one of those.
Your dog agrees too. Oof, oof. Get after that quick. Get after that quarterback.
The neighbors walking by.
That dog will hunt. Oof.
I
like that. I like that. This dog.
That's an English Mastiff. That's about 200 pounds, man.
Man, put that dog out there. Let him get after the quarterback, man. So I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I'm a little 937. I got you next coming up in a minute. Anything else on your radar early this spring or that jumps out to you? What do you got? Yeah, Nana.
So
Nana's got to help us. Somebody put that in the chat. He's got to step up too.
I wanted to connect with you after that. Was it Ludwig, that offensive coordinator, that whole adventure? But I'm glad that there's something else that got Notre Dame in national media.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what I want to say is this. All right. Guess what, Notre Dame fans? The national media hates Notre Dame. Okay. Understand why. Notre Dame is a system disruptor. Okay. That's what Notre Dame is. And what I mean by that is Notre Dame does not need any conference, and it doesn't necessarily need the NCAA. Okay, in essence, they got to play in that in this system, if you will, but they don't need it. Okay, so any chance that the national media can smear a system disruptor, they will. So when I saw that line that Ludwig's not coming because Notre Dame won't pay the buyout, my first thought is there's probably an element of truth, but the rest is crap. Because all you have to do is get that headline out, and then the system starts to work. And guess what? It worked. And then the next day, I'm sure ESPN is going on there going, Notre Dame doesn't want to help Marcus Freeman if he leaves this racist and all that crap because it's a system disruptor. Okay? And let me explain what also that means in the grand scheme of things. Notre Dame, being independent, is putting their middle finger up to the system. Okay? They're saying, we can make the money, we could be a national powerhouse, and we don't need you. All right? So when you have those type of situations...
Well, wait a second now. They're saying it, but is it accurate? Like, you're saying Notre Dame, that's their position, but do you believe that that's a fully accurate and real position? Or is that what they're purporting that they want to be? Or do you believe that it is the case that they could be nationally relevant and competitive as well?
They are nationally relevant. They are competitive. No, it's not to the level of competition that I want. I want one of these national championships.
Yeah, playoff caliber, playoff game winning is kind of the level we're looking for, right? Able to bring in 100%. Both units that could actually compete in a playoff game. We've made it there. We just haven't competed, right?
Right. And then also relevancy, or if Notre Dame needed a conference, they would join it. Okay. They have not. Once again, Notre Dame also polices itself in the sense of, guess what? When we had people cheating on the test, Notre Dame went to the NCAA and said, here's an issue.
Yeah. Where'd that get us? Where'd that get us? Where did that honesty get us?
Because the NCAA will, again, you got to understand friend enemy distinction. We're an enemy. So they will crush us every single time that they can. Okay, so you could be like North Carolina, who's in the system, create classes so that players can all of a sudden be eligible to play because the grades increase. You could be Penn State that covered up a pedophile ring for 20 years, and you get slaps on the wrist.
So you're saying, all right, so you're saying that they don't like Notre Dame because we're an outlier to all that system. Somebody would argue the other way.
100%.
Somebody who wanted to argue I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. I'm trying to play devil's advocate. Somebody would argue on the other side would go, what is the incentive for all these other teams and conferences to not like Notre Dame being involved? Because it's good for everybody. When you have a game with Notre Dame at your home field, you're going to sell out no matter who you are. Or you're saying that us trying to be an outlier to all those other permanent mechanisms that they're all connected to, the benefit that Notre Dame provides isn't worth trying to buck that system everybody else is a part of. Is that kind of it?
Well, you're missing the point I'm making. It's not that we are trying. We are doing it. And that's what pisses them off. It's the system understands, simply put, that they need Notre Dame. Notre Dame doesn't need it, per se. Okay, obviously there's got to be some sort of waters that Notre Dame has to swim into as NCAA, et cetera. But they don't need the conference. They don't need that to have the money, to have the relevancy, to be still a 9-4 team and still getting audiences turning in. Okay, that is what drives them crazy. That is what is driving them nuts. That's why anytime they can smear them, they will. That is why it blows my mind that Notre Dame fans still turn into the ESPNs of the world, still listen to The Athletic, still listen to these high-level national media outlets. They will destroy Notre Dame.
Yeah, I've said that with Game Day.
Put them into
Game
a
Day.
conference.
I have said that with Game Day for about 6 or 7 years now. I would always say, all you people that claim you love Notre Dame, I can't understand how you watch that program because it goes directly against everything we want to accomplish. Even when they mention Notre Dame, it's obligatory, or they're maximizing it being at one of our games for Game Day. But everything else is under the format of pushing where they have those media contracts, in my opinion, and they're pushing those narratives and all of that machine that's behind it. And that's the way I see it. I don't watch that program for that reason.
Right. It's exactly right. It's the system. It's all of that. I mean, you got to understand the people who are part of the NCAA at one time more than likely worked for various conferences, be it SEC, be it the ACC, be it the Big Ten. And then they leave that job and they go back to the national media. And then they go from the national media to, it's a complete cycle. Okay. And so they're operating under a certain mode. All right. And until you join the system, their whole purpose is to drive you into it.
So how can Notre Dame thrive in an environment where you're saying, everything's kind of out to get you? What's Notre Dame's path then to do it our way, swim against the tides, and then emerge victorious?
That's a great question, man. That's why this is the question. Yeah, I agree. But that's why it's a little confusing to me. I mean, let me take a step back. That's the reason that one of the reasons I'm a Notre Dame fan. It's because they do it differently.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons. I want them to do it differently and win.
Yes.
I want them to show the
mission
that we don't need you.
That's the mission. It
and
wouldn't,
so what blows
listen,
my mind.
I tell everybody this. I want Notre Dame to be more competitive in the NIL space, for example, but I don't want them to do pay-for-play blank checks. There's reasonable middle ground in between. I want them to help their football players get through school, but I don't want it to be, it's fake degrees and it doesn't matter if you can't read. I want to show Notre Dame can win it, doing it the right way, at least trying to do it the right way. That's my crusade, is just hoping that one day somebody gets rewarded for trying to be on that path. And maybe it'll never happen and I'll sit here and yell till I die. That's possible too.
Right. That is why I tune into you. That is why I'm a Notre Dame fan.
To see me stroke out and die on the air?
That's pretty much. That's exactly right. I don't give a damn about the game. I just want to see you blow up on YouTube.
Hey, listen,
bro. That's
bro.
the reason I turn into the game, see how you react.
What would you think if I did live streams for games where I'm on there during the game and then people can comment and we all kind of react together? I don't know whether that'd be a hit or not. People do it every Saturday. I know people have their viewing routines, and I don't want to mess them up, but I wonder if that would get people in or not, because they'd be live in the moment. I don't know.
Stan, so let me put it this way. You kind of strike me as, and I've asked this before, as how I watch the game. I don't want to be bothered. Okay, I don't want to be bothered. And sometimes, depending, it's Kurt Herbstreit and Chris Fowler's, and I'll mute the game.
I like watching games alone. When possible, I prefer to watch alone. It's the healthiest thing for everybody. It just is.
Exactly.
But then again, I'm sick in the head. I'm sick in the head. But John, let's watch the ND game at a bar. How about never in a million years am I watching a Notre Dame game at a bar? Right. That sounds like the worst idea of all time for 90 reasons that immediately come to mind. Not interested.
Right. Right. And I don't watch it at the bar. I don't, no, if it's one of my close friends, what have you, that I know they're the same level as me, I'll watch it with them, whatnot. But then it's I also watch it through a player's perspective, since I played at that level. whatnot, where you can see it, and I'm breaking it down and going, okay, this and that. Again, I don't want to be bothered by going, okay, without seeing how the line's playing, who's winning the trenches? Is the line moving forward or backwards when Notre Dame's on offense? Like, if a receiver's running open and they're not just getting the ball because the quarterback can't see it. I'm not looking at it like, oh, that you gained 5 yards here. Woo-hoo! That's not how I view the game.
Yeah.
I've never watched it like that. I have no interest to go down that level. But here's devil advocate for you. You do a live and call show, I guarantee you the super chats are going to go up. I guarantee you your YouTube persona is going to increase as well. You're going to make money. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, my thing would be, I would just let the phone lines ride. And if people are good and they want to celebrate, call in halftime. Everybody wants to yell. Like, I just think there's a lot of angles we could go with it. It might be dangerous, though, the way I react to live stuff with Notre Dame might be dangerous, but that's what's good for YouTube is me reacting in the moment,
Yep.
I don't know.
Hey, as long as you don't get demonetized, you'll be fine. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, well, I've been down that path. It's not fun. Been down that path and fighting out of it's not enjoyable, let me tell you.
Exactly. Well, John, it was good to connect. I know you got callers lined up and whatnot. I appreciate you moving forward because I got a hard stop here coming up. But, hey, God bless, man. Have a happy spring. I'm sure we'll connect again either before or after.
Hey, man, you're a good caller. Give me a call whenever something rattles in your mind, my friend. I'll pop you up. Thank you.
Of course.
Have a good weekend. Take care. What a nice guy. Nice guy. 937, I'm coming to you. 707 after that. I got to hit these super chats. People donate. I got to mention them. It'd be rude not to. You know what I mean? So what do we got? Charlie Weiss. I'm not trying to be immature. I'm not trying to be like legitimately rude. There's no chance I'm not laughing when I see Charlie Weiss's last belt loop as this guy's name and the photo. I am not trying to be a total jerk. I just can't help it. That's never not going to be funny. Perception-wise, Jack running to the New York Times to ask Congress to get involved with NIL's terrible for ND recruiting. It's obvious ND's falling behind and now asking Congress to come save them. Not good. Here's the thing. How many of those recruits are tuning into the Today Show? Like, I don't think a lot of 17-year-olds saw that and they're thinking, oh, Notre Dame isn't going for NIL. Like, that's my thought. I thought this was more of it at an administrative level. I don't think a lot of 18-year-olds are going, oh, look at this priest up there talking about, NIL. I'm not going there. I think people that are interested in Notre Dame are going to be interested anyways. But I do thank you for the $10 holler and the laugh. It's a great name. Oh, that's funny in a horrible way. $4.99, $5 holler. Dale had him. John, I love your passion. Well, I love yours. Thanks for being here. Thank you for your podcast. No problem. Would like to meet you at a tailgate. How can I find you? It depends on the game and where I'm going to be and what's going on. The easiest thing I tell people to do is shoot me an email, alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. And then we put it together. Where are you going to be? What game? Here's my tailgate. I'll be at this poll. Text me, whatever. We'll do it that way. Still trying to figure out what games to go to this fall and all that. Eric, $20 holler. I appreciate it. Eric, he was in court earlier today as a lawyer, not defendant. I want to be clear. Oh, man, $20 holler. Appreciate you. First spring practice, IB and others have said that Artman has a nice tight spiral. Very accurate throwing the ball. Next, Drew Brees, baby. There we go. Sounds good to me. $20 holler from my pal, Adam Dowling. Can't wait to see this new offensive talent. We won 9 games with no QB or a healthy wide receiver room. It's a very interesting point and one that I cannot disagree with. Oh, man. What else do we have? Telling you, Charlie Weiss's belt loop must have had a good week at work. $5 holler. Marcus Freeman says we need big D line, but then has Al Washington going after guys that are 240 pounds. This doesn't add up. D-line recruiting is bad, and I know they're pounding it in the 24 cycle. It's a big priority. And so we're just going to have to see. But listen, you ended up in an odd dynamic with all these things converging at the same time where graduation in the NFL. You literally lost 4 of your 6 top tacklers from the D-line and over half the sacks. I'm going to repeat it again. On that defensive line, your 2 most experienced guys now that are going to start have 33 tackles and 24 tackles. All right? And so that's Howard Cross and Riley Mills. So that is a prime area of concern, I think, to me. I'm looking out for it. Here we go. $5 holler from Christopher Morgan. During your last live show, there's a question about where does JDP fit in with our stack wide receiver room? How about him on punt return, kick returns? Thoughts? I'm not sure he's even out there practicing right now. So I don't know what's going to happen if he's out there in the spring. I think he's recovering still. And then I want to see that burst. That's the only thing with a young guy and a leg injury is that burst he had in that blue and gold game that was so exciting last year. You just worry that after coming off a leg injury, you don't have that burst anymore. And I feel like that burst is especially important on kickoff returns, that kind of thing. So I'd want to see what that looks like and what those legs look like post-recovery and go from there. But I'm telling you, that running back situation looks pretty tasty. Like tasty enough that you could flex a guy out to help bolster the wide receiver. Like you don't have to hurry a guy back off injury that's recouping and you feel good about what you have. All of that's trending up. That group's going to be so fun to watch this year, especially if the O-line does what it should do and stays in one piece. Okay, I think I hit the super chats. Let's see. I hit them. 937, you've been waiting a while. My bad. You're on the air.
Hey, John, it's your favorite Buckeye fan. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, man. Thank you for being here. I always say this. I appreciate having like some other perspectives that are reasonable, not just hating on Notre Dame, but coming from other groups. Always welcome that. What's on your mind this spring about anything, Notre Dame or college football in general?
Yeah. So I'm calling in because I saw on Yahoo yesterday, it was plastered all over the internet about the interview between Father Jenkins and Jack, and I thought it was kind of interesting. I agree with them on the basketball comments as far as I really do think the NBA should do either no year, but if you go to college, a 3-year deal, kind of like the baseball, I guess, kind of like baseball.
Yeah. Doesn't it almost make more sense, though? Doesn't that almost make more sense? Like, why even do 1 year at that point? If you're good enough to go pro, then just go pro. And if you're not, stick around a while and learn something.
Right. That's what I think that makes more sense. The other and two, these the universities invest so much in these players. It's like to have them for 1 year is almost like a crime. But the other thing. The one thing I don't quite understand this is that they made a comment that they want the NFL to have a minor league system. To me, I don't understand that at all. What did you see that portion?
Yeah, I did see it. How do you structure that? You know what I mean? Like, that's my question. Right. How do you structure all that and put it all together? It just seems like a kind of a dream, but practically I have a hard time seeing it pull together.
Just my thoughts on that was practically it's like you have such a short lifespan in football in that sport. Unless you're basically a quarterback, you got maybe 5 to 8 years if you're a really good player. And so to spend a couple years in the minor leagues makes no sense. And if I'm a college administrator, why would I want any players to go to a minor league system and skip college, even if they're on the other team? At least,
yeah, it's bad for business. It's bad for the whole business itself. Yeah, you're cutting them out.
It makes no sense for the business model. So right. I didn't understand that. One thing I would push back a little bit on the previous caller. I do agree that. In times of past, that probably a lot of people were, against Notre Dame. But I would say ESPN's got a great deal. I don't think they have to pay anything for the football programs that they get. when they're over on the ACC. So they're not paying Notre Dame for that. The only person that's really paying Notre Dame is NBC, and they actually get them at a discount. So I'm relative to what they would get if they were in either the Big Ten or the SEC. So I think that the national media they actually get some relief from Notre Dame. So just a thought there. And then my other thought was with the quarterback situation. Man, when you get down to the red zone, windows get a lot smaller, and I would not see. I think the idea of having a red zone quarterback, he better be more accurate, or just heads and shoulders a better athlete than your running backs, because if you're just going to have them back there running, you might as well just have two running backs back there.
Yeah.
That would be my thought. No, I completely understand the idea of this, with the idea of him maybe transferring, but at this point, there's no way I would transfer, because just look at last season. I mean, it was like week 3, and
anything can happen.
The backup was a starter.
Yeah,
so,
you never know.
Yeah,
he should know more than anybody because it's happened to him 4 times. Right. I mean, it's happened to him. Hey, can I ask you an Ohio State question?
Sure.
Since we're, you're in that territory and you're more familiar with them, what are your early feelings on everything being flipped for 23, where Ohio State visits Notre Dame and they're going to be the ones with the young, inexperienced quarterback in that environment in a night game with all the excitement, and Notre Dame's wearing the green jerseys, all of that. Like, have you thought about that yet? Or what are your initial feelings about that? And going in there with the young quarterback, like we came to your place last year, what are your early feelings on that?
Yeah. So, my feelings are this. So the green jersey thing, I actually, so I've watched a lot of Notre Dame football. My other side of my family is the Notre Dame fans. And so we had a big garage party where half the garage was Notre Dame and half the garage was Ohio State. So that being said, I've seen Notre Dame lose so many times in the green jerseys that I'm like, yeah, bring on the green jerseys.
Yeah.
But the other thing, so the green jerseys don't threaten me at all.
Well, here's my stance on the green jerseys. I love the concept, but it's original concept and then the reapplication of it in the 70s at Notre Dame. The idea isn't that you announce it 7 months early. It's that everybody's expecting blue. You warm up in blue before the game, and then the last minute, they go in the locker room and there's green. Everybody loses their minds, and then they run out, and then we lose our minds. That is the part that gives you the advantage of the green, not announcing it a half year ahead for everybody to buy them. Do it right if you're going to do it, or don't do it. Do it right for the right reasons to get out of it what you need, or don't do it, damn it. Anyways, the green's going to look cool, though. The green's going to look cool. I just don't agree with the delivery. Yeah. It's a marketing delivery, not a strategic advantage on the field, emotional delivery, and I don't like that.
Yes, I agree with you. If they didn't announce it and then they came out in the green jerseys, that's the huge point for the crowd. Yeah,
whatever. I'm over it.
I guess every time I've seen that, John, that's been like an announced for several months or a couple weeks in advance. So it's never been like a surprise. So I don't know. The surprise element's a big deal. But my other thought was, thank God you guys don't have Isaiah.
I remember Bush push. That was a surprise. And
Bush push.
I have never felt that stadium that way. I was too young for 88 Miami, 93 Florida State. For me, that was that moment. They came out in the green, not a cloud in the sky, against the hated USC Empire. The roof blew off the place that didn't even exist. That's the vibe I want. But whatever. Sell your jerseys.
So the one thing as the offense going against the defense, thank God for me, it's like you guys don't have Isaiah Foskey. You got a lot of replacements on the defense, and I think that's gonna be interesting. Other than the quarterback and the offensive line are going to be different, but all the skill guys are back. So, and honestly, our running backs were kind of banged up last year going into the season. So if we have a decent, if they're semi-healthy, it'll be interesting.
Here's a thought. I want to ask you a thought about how Ryan Day might approach this. And I know we're like 5 months early on this, but I'm talking to Ohio State guys, so I'm going to ask. Here's my question about that. Is he going to look at this the way I see Notre Dame and think that defensive front may be a weakness, and then think, I got a young quarterback in here, maybe we should lean on the run and see if we could just run Notre Dame down doing that? Or does he think, I know I got these skill guys all over, I'm going to throw the ball like I normally would and whatever, and it isn't going to matter?
Well, I do think this. The strength of the offensive line is going to be your interior because they have both their guards returning. So that's going to be the strength. So my guess is they're going to do a lot of running, and especially if Notre Dame's lighter up front, which I've heard in this program that they're going to be lighter this year.
Yep, they are. I don't like it, but it's true.
Try to pound. I would go to the pass, after that, or do play action with this quarterback. But, one big advantage this year versus last year is the idea that there's 3 games before this game. So they can get kinks worked out in the passing game before. So we'll kind of see, if Ohio State's having issues with the passing game, at Indiana in that first game, we'll kind of get an idea of, hey, this could be how Notre Dame beats you. If they can plug the middle, contend with the receivers, and not have just guys wide open, and making this guy throw into somewhat of a crowded backfield, then and he can't do it, then for sure, then Notre Dame will probably win the game.
And the big debate now with Notre Dame fans, and I've been having this discussion too, obviously you're clearly aware of our historic rivalry with USC. And the big debate with Notre Dame fans this offseason is, what's the bigger game? Like if we said you're going to win one and lose one between Ohio State coming first earlier in that schedule, then USC a little later, that's been a hot debate because people are saying it's more important to win against Ohio State because of where it is in the schedule. It could set you up on a run. Then you have traditionalists like me who believe beating USC is existentially crucial every year for Notre Dame. And I don't want to see our new coach start 0-2. So it's going to be really interesting, both of those games.
Well, I'll say this. Everybody would have said that Ohio State has to beat Michigan, right? But Ohio State last year lost to Michigan. But the key was beating Notre Dame. And that propelled us because you guys clocked Clemson. That propelled us to be being in good
position,
the champion, tournament.
Yep. And you know what? You bring up that's actually a very interesting caveat. I'm so immersed in Notre Dame world, thinking of it from your angle. I'm so happy we beat Clemson. Well, so are you, because that bumps Notre Dame's profile, and that did help you. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, so the one you want to win is the one that is going to only have one loss at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. So that's or whichever conference you can knock out by knocking out their best person.
Hey,
so my guess is you want to beat USC because they have less contenders in that conference. And
right.
Ohio State's going to have a heck of a hard schedule next year. I think right now they're already ranked 9th.
Why does Michigan get to play high school teams 90 weeks out of the year and then play 2 real games all year? Why is this allowed? Why do they get to play Eastern Central Community College 4 weeks in a row and then nobody good in the regular season except for like Michigan State's a rivalry game, Ohio State? Those are the only 2 games. Penn State's supposed to be awesome every year and they never are, but they're in the top 5 to start the year and they never amount to anything. Why do they get away with playing nobody? Their whole lives or a ramp up to play you every year? Why is it allowed?
You got me.
I'm serious. They don't play anybody till November this year. November 11th is like the first. They don't play anybody, and then they build confidence all year playing nobody. Then they're all hyped up to beat you. It all bugs me.
Healthy too. You know, they were way healthier than the Buckeyes the last 2 seasons. So, you know, it's just the way it is. But I know starting in 2024, when we get USC in the conference, things are going to be different.
That's what I wanted to ask you next. That's where I'm glad you went there, because that's where I was going next. How do you feel about some of these changes with USC and whoever else joining the Big Ten? Here's what I want. I want to see USC, these LA pretty boys. I want to see them on the frozen plains in Nebraska in November, freezing. I want them up in New York, freezing, playing Rutgers. I want to see them boys cold all the time.
Agreed. That'll be fun. You know, they only go to Notre Dame in October. They won't dare go there in November.
Yeah.
So now they're going to be forced to come out here in November. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
It's going to be interesting, man. But anything else? I appreciate having. Listen, man, I appreciate having somebody whose primary team isn't Notre Dame, but who's willing to call in and talk Notre Dame more than just, I hate you, you guys suck, John, you're an idiot, because that's usually what it ends up being. It's very healthy to have somebody else in that ecosystem that can fairly talk about these things. I appreciate it.
About your programming. So this is what I'll say. People that do the live game, because I've listened to a couple of those, they're very boring. And I know you'll be, animated. But you really commercial time.
I was gonna say, you really think it'll be boring? You don't think I can fill up commercial time with something? Give me a little credit here. I'm not your run-of-the-mill dude. I think I could fill that time.
I know. I think you could, but I think honestly, take that time and do a really great post show, and you'll have way more fans listening.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point.
People really are used to talking about it.
Yeah, and people have their routine when they're watching games, or they have family over and there's a bunch of people. Like, I get that. Yeah, a live call-in post-game show right after is probably the best traffic. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I think so. And I think people are just in the mood to talk, especially, maybe night games would be a good way to do your game show, because you don't want to be on till 1 or 2 in the morning. But
that's a good point.
During like the regular 2:00 game, or maybe only in the big night games is when that makes sense. You do the live game.
Man, you're pretty good at this. Yes, you're pretty good at this. You want to be my manager? You want to manage the show here?
Well, if we can get an Always Buckeyes channel.
There we go.
Sure.
The Always Buckeyes show.
Later, John.
What?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you like that?
I'll
Get that
later,
going.
John,
Hey, listen, man, I really appreciate it. Every time you call, it's really good stuff. It's fair. And I love having people that are primarily fans of other teams. Get in touch with me. We have a long time till then, but the build up to Notre Dame, Ohio State next year, I want you to come on, share your thoughts, but we'll talk before then.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Have a good weekend, man. Thanks a lot.
Yep. Go Bucks.
See ya. I can't repeat that, but have a good weekend. Dr. John, good to see you here. You got other patients to check on. I don't want to leave them hanging. Somebody might be bleeding out. I don't want you to be watching me. Go ahead, Dr. John. 7:07. Happy Friday.
Hey, John.
What's going on, man?
Is that me?
Yeah, it's you.
I'm impressed with that caller from Ohio State. I don't really care for those people in the least bit. And he was actually level-headed and not derogatory.
Yep.
And I enjoyed it.
And I think that's important, doing what I'm doing, that you have some level of balance in the ecosystem of another perspective where it's not Notre Dame #1 first and foremost. And the fact that he's respectful about it, that's a great caller. So I want that guy to stick around.
Yeah. Well, I called actually. I heard you guys talking about, that sketchy situation with Notre Dame's defensive line, and I wanted to see. I was hoping you were going to ask that guy about John Baptiste, and see what his opinion is of him.
Oh yeah, that slipped my mind. I should have asked that. That's a good point. Missed opportunity.
Because I'm kind of curious as to what he's going to bring this year. I mean, I'd like to be able to say he's going to just fit right in for Foskey, but what I've heard is that their Botello actually kind of filled out over this year, and they're talking about maybe putting him to the Foskey role.
Yeah, that's what yes, I did. That's what I heard, that maybe like the original plan would be. And the other thing you're bringing up is a lot of times with these grad guys, they come in and they're like depth, or, it's an extra guy for rotation or whatever. Jean Baptiste is going to be needed. He is going to play a lot. Like, that's not like add depth on the back end of what you have. That's a guy that's going to be leaned on. He's got to be productive. They need him.
And we have guys like Gobira and Rubio and Cross.
Hey, Gobira, a lot of people I trust that have followed the recruiting and the development really like Gobira a lot. Like, I've had multiple people tell me that is a name and a guy that they really have high expectations for.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him play a little bit last year, and he didn't look terrible,
Yeah.
So maybe they just need guys to fill up the middle, but really, I think the major sticking point to me is a weaker part of it. The front seven is the linebacking. So I don't think they have that situation resolved yet, and you have to just hope that this transfer portal can bring in some decent guy there, because I think that's going to be where we see our biggest weakness is linebacking.
Now,
especially if they move Botelho.
Yeah, but all right, here's how I've been thinking of this. I'm nervous about that front seven, D-line and linebackers. However, I feel like there's more personnel moves and blends and things you could do with the linebackers we have than we have D-line. Like, I don't see a huge Lewis Nix over 300-pound rock. I know that's there on the D. Like, I just don't think we have the bodies I need to do what I want us to do in D-line. Linebacker recruiting's been pretty darn good, and I feel like you should be able to find a blend of younger guys, older guys, Collie, Sneed, Bertrand, all the whatever. Figure out a blend that works. There should be more guys to work with there.
Yeah, if they don't have, like, every Power 5 offensive line is at least like an average of 300 pounds these days.
Yeah,
So if you're approaching, Notre Dame's approaching with guys like 275 on the line.
I know.
It wears on you during a game,
Yeah, not only during a game, but it's really going to wear on you in the big three that we have circled. Because if that is a known weakness in Notre Dame, all of those big three programs are going to lean on us. And it's just, you got to be able to hold up. And so that's where my number one concern is right now with this program as we sit is for 23. I feel pretty good that the offense is trending up and for a lot of reasons. That defensive front, stopping the run first and foremost, number one concern.
Yeah, it always comes down to the line of scrimmage. Who controls the line of scrimmage, no matter if you're on offense or defense? That's where it is.
Isn't it wild that this sport's been around so long and that remains true over all the modernization, all the changes, everything that still holds true every game?
Yeah, and I don't see the offensive line being able to test the defensive line like in the spring game and all that, because I don't think they're both great this year. Like, a lot of people always are happy about our offensive line, and I love our tackles. I'll take them over anybody else.
That's what I was going to say.
But the next three people in the interior is not a proven. I don't like Zeke Correll. I never have. And now we have to fill in two guard spots. I mean, Kristofic sounds like it should be just a given that he'll get one of them.
Yeah.
But, we don't know how much better Correll is, because I don't know. All I see for him is floor. I don't see a ceiling. Like, I don't see him getting better.
What a bright outlook.
I know.
That's funny.
But that's really the reality, and that's where I think we're going to struggle with these good teams is on the line of scrimmage, and that's tough.
Well, yeah, that's tough. And here's what I'm really. This is just kind of it's gnawing at me and it's bothering me. Notre Dame's done such a good job since 2017 of making sure this defense is not the reason they're losing games and can be leaned on. Now I feel like that offense is starting to trend up more. I just can't have that defense drop back a bunch of notches. Like, it doesn't have to be elite 2012 under 10 points a game allowed average, but it's got to be like reasonable for a Notre Dame defense. And I just don't want to see us that start to get away from us and unravel. Now, some people will say, John, give them one more year of recruiting and they'll be able to fill that back and then we're good. I don't know. It just makes me nervous, but I'm wound tight when it comes to all this.
Yeah. Well, what's the guy we also have we're not talking about? Is Keeley, right? Is that?
Yep. Would have started right away and get after it. He would have been
a linebacker. I like his aggressiveness. Like, he makes penalties, and it's not great to do that, but that shows me he's into it.
Yep. And
like he got a sideline penalty or a hit that he was close to out of bounds. I'm not sure if I agreed with that one, but at least it shows me he's involved. He's mentally, he wants to hurt.
Yeah.
And so I like him too. So I mean, they're not like a bunch of losers that are going to be coming back. It's just that, you have to find the right mix of and down and distance is going to, Al Golden's going to have to prove a lot to me this year because I've liked him since he was at Miami.
Both
Als.
He was
pretty good.
Both Als to me are under the microscope. I need Al Washington, and I need him to deliver on everything that he needs to, and Al Golden as well. And it was understood that Golden was thinking about going to the NFL anyways already. Like, I'm just saying there's a lot of eyeballs on both Als.
Right. And so it was a smart move for him to come. But you know what else I wanted to tell you after we hung up? I was talking to you on Monday about Hartman. You're saying how he's coming in to really help Notre Dame. I think he's doing it for himself too, because a quarterback playing at Wake Forest is not going to catch the eye of a lot of
100% correct
in the NFL. But if he's at Notre Dame, it's going to help him a lot if he plays well.
You are 100% correct. And I believe Hartman was even very open about saying, they were in that delayed mesh system at Wake Forest that's kind of nuanced. And it was known that he wanted to go to more of a pro style setup to be able to have that final year of tape in a pro kind of system to go to the NFL. So in that way, it's kind of open both ways. We want a reliable QB with a higher level, whatever, proven. And he wants an opportunity to have that film with a different kind of offense. And so, I mean, it's a win-win and a give-take. We need something out of him. You want something out of us. That's life.
Yeah. And I think he's coming into a very good, situation with our receivers. Like, he had good receivers. Those guys when I see highlights of him, it's like these receivers are making great catches for him. So, for him to come to Notre Dame right when they're ready to break out with a bunch of great receivers, it's going to be a win-win there too. So I'm looking forward to it. But I really want to see John Padis and see what he can do, because wasn't he a 5-star for them when he came in? I'm not sure.
I don't remember that. And then the other thing is, like, did he have injuries or why is this happening? I forget that story too of why he's moving.
Well, I think the kids that they got behind him are supposedly better. So he didn't really have a place because he wasn't getting enough playing time.
I mean, right. But then that informs you where Notre Dame's at then, right? Like, if that guy couldn't play for them and he's coming over here and I need him to make every play for us, it kind of tells me where we're at in the big picture here.
Yeah, but if you have the choice of having him or not, you take him, right?
Well, yeah, because we need bodies. 4 of our 6 top tacklers from the D-line are gone. I'm not making it up or over-exaggerating for emotion. 4 out of our 6 top tacklers are gone. Over half the sacks are gone. Your leading returning tackler on the D-line has 33 tackles. It's a legitimate worry.
Yeah, well, what I think is if he has quickness, because he played end for Ohio State, so if he's got the quickness for end, then maybe put him at the Foskey position. But if he doesn't, move him into the interior. If he's slow, let's use him to bulk up. He's a big boy. Let's use him in the middle.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I want Lewis Nix. I need a Lewis Nix type guy to just anchor thing, just a big old anchor that I just know isn't moving and is just gonna be the starting point. Like we just don't have those bodies, man. Where are they coming from? We don't have them bodies.
Yeah, and I'll end it with a comment. Like you were talking to the guy 2 callers before, I think, and talking about NIL, and you want Notre Dame to have some reasonable doing it the right way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got to push back a little bit, because what is the right way?
The right way is coming up with amounts that are in the ballpark of what some of the other top teams offer, but not doing it pay for play, doing it if you're here and you do what we need you to do, this is what we have. So that would be a way where the money isn't a huge difference from the other teams, but we're not doing it sign here and you're guaranteed the money. That would be more my idea. Because then you're financially in the ballpark, but without cutting the corner and calling it pay for play.
Okay.
That's reasonable.
I just think if we have to get in the arena with the best, who seem to have no problem, even before NIL was a thing, giving kids what they want.
Yep.
I think, if this is, the way things are done and it's not illegal, then I say you have to get on board with the way it's.
But I think it is illegal. But I think it is illegal. But they're not. Nobody's looking into it. Nobody's going to do anything about it. Like what's going on now is straight up pay for play. It's just nobody is really pushing it or investigating it or wants to do anything. And I just have a hard time thinking Notre Dame's going to have these, whoever the top few guys in our recruiting classes that are committed. Now I'm worried every night before signing day. I'm going to wake up and all those guys are gone to blank checks and it just doesn't matter. And there's nothing we can do about it. That's a losing position for us. Can't be in it every year.
That's why I'm pushing back against doing it the right way, quote the right way, because, we could have had Dante Moore if we had paid him. His father pretty much said it,
You would have, you could have had Dante Moore starting right away. You could have had Keeley coming off the edge right away, and you would have had Bowen back there as a safety support Morrison, and everything would have been good to go.
Exactly.
Everything would have been good to go, man. Those guys all would have played early and contributed right away.
That's why I want them to get paid. It's like we got to keep up with the trends of what's happening. We can't just sit back and say, yeah, but we do it the right way. Well, we'll never get we'll never get to a championship win.
Yeah.
If we continue with,
it's the thing of it's like, well, at least at the end of the day, I can know we did it the right way. Well, yeah, we're doing it the right way in the Camping World Bowl. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, yeah, we're doing it the right way. And we're also in the Champ Sports Bowl, that on Christmas Eve or something, Yeah,
the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's great. And so it is funny though. It's like, man, how much on my laurels can I sit? Yeah, we do it the right way, but we also never win anything I care about. Oh man, Life is a Notre Damer, right?
Exactly. All right, Johnny.
Hey.
I guess we'll have to talk again next week, huh?
I guess we will. Give me a call. Now, with these practices going on, there's going to be more to talk about. So this will be a pretty regular thing throughout the spring for sure, and then we'll see what's up in the summer.
Yeah.
You know what I might do, man?
The last thing I heard you talk about was doing a show during the game. That's a pretty cool idea, I think.
I don't know, man. I don't know whether it's a great idea or if it's a crash and burn. I don't, and I'm better off doing a live call-in right when the game ends. I don't know, but it's all in my mind.
I'm thinking if you did it like for the second half so that you turn it on after the first half so you can take some calls right away to get analysis of everybody's thoughts on the first half.
That's not a bad idea.
The whole second half.
That's not a bad idea either, because then that leads into the post game naturally. Then,
right?
Ah, man, yeah, I got some good options here. Yeah, there's some good ideas, but I think, or I could mix it up, try some different things, see how people react to it.
Sure.
But I want to try and come up with something new every year. Like last year, it was introducing the call-in show, and that was a big change. Every year, I want to do one big thing to mix it up, and I'm playing with what I want to do there.
Well, it's working for me. So
I like to hear that. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching, and thanks for your calls, man. Regular caller, I appreciate you, especially during the year. It's almost daily. Love it.
Right on, John.
Beautiful. Have a good weekend, man. Take care out there. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Telling you, I got nice callers. These people are nice to deal with. Mike, $9.99, $10 holla. Been to games for over 20 years. Headed to Oklahoma to see Central Michigan, then Ohio State, staying the week of note. ND's never lost when I've attended. Wow, you need to go to more games then. Erskine or Elbow Park, I don't think I played either. I can't say on that one. I haven't played there. All right, thank you for the $10 holler. Appreciate that. Here we go. Okay, one more thing I wanted to hit on. Let's see, where was it on my notes? Well, I had another caller, but they dropped off. Somebody who just dropped off. If you want to call back, I'll pop you up. I'm sorry I made you wait. I wanted to go back to the wide receivers. I don't think I'm dreaming. I think that this group's going to be a strength soon, like another year or two. I think when this current freshman group gets a little older, I think that's going to be kind of the turning point. And those guys have a different attitude. And I think that's and it's past that Kelly cutoff and all that in the new era. I think that group's going to take off, and then that's going to help whatever they want to do at quarterback. So I think that's going to be beautiful. Oh, let's see. Live call-in a halftime show, then post-game call-in. Man, that's not a bad idea either. Because then you're not watching it the whole time, but you can have 20, 25 minutes to let people call it. It could just be, but at that point, it would just be 1 or 2 minutes each, right? Like you only have 25 minutes for halftime. So if people wanted to call and they're all liquored up and mad, it'd be fun, but it would just have to be like everybody gets 1 or 2 minutes or whatever. All right, folks, that's going to be it. Hour and a half. I got some other things to do. I have other stuff to record for the weekend. Wait a second. All right, we got another caller. Just kidding. Saved by the bell. 219, you're on the line right when I was about to hang up.
Yeah, that's why I called. I can't believe you didn't call me and give me my lines for, the fake caller thing.
Yeah. I'm going to start texting you, and I'm going to say, and then when I say this, you say that. And then when you say this, I'm going to say that.
That's funny, John. Funny. Today, though, man, what you were kind of getting at with this wide receiver room, that's I've been excited for a couple days, kind of seeing. If you can remember what we went into the season with last year, with Colby kind of being injured and really not even having backup receivers, and now it kind of looks like we might have depth and guys that can rotate.
Yeah. Now let me ask this though, man. Let me ask this. There's no doubt we're in a way better spot with that wide receiver room, last year to this year. But let me ask you this. Is it possible that we're getting overexcited because we just want it to not be bad? Are we overexcited just because we're not used to anything good at all?
Yeah, we're probably overly excited, John, because it's been terrible. I mean, and
it's spring too, and it's spring, so it's not like the most competitive thing, but we want to have some positivity. But at the same time, Rico looks like he could play. These guys are telling me Great House is in great shape. Like the younger, I think it might be good.
Yeah, you're going into the season. It looks like Colby even looks like he's in a little better shape and healthy. You got Merriweather, for some reason, didn't get a chance all year. Great House, Flores, Jaden Thomas was coming off the other year. I mean, you got a whole group now. And It looks, they're saying that Braylon James is just an athletic freak and needs to get a little work in. Still, he's not quite ready yet, but all of a sudden you got a whole group of guys.
Yeah. That group went, 1 year to the next, completely flipped. You have depth now, you have competition now, you have guys that have athletic frames that can make some moves. The other thing is, theoretically, you have a quarterback who should be able to get them the ball with more efficiency. And that should excite those guys too, because they know they have a guy that can get them the ball when they beat a guy or make the right moves. I'm excited, man.
Yeah, and it really just shows how sad the previous offensive regime was the last few years, that we had pretty much zero recruits coming in at the wide receiver position. It's really just unacceptable, really.
No, wait,
really
wasn't
one guy last?
Wasn't there literally a class that had one or no wide receivers at the end of it? Like
last year, all you had was Merriweather.
Yeah,
it
just can't be. Guy. It can't be. And the other problem when you do that, Adam, is when you end up in that situation, it doesn't just mess up that one dynamic. Now you have this imbalance throughout classes that you're chasing and making up, and then you have to account more, and it throws off your numbers. Like when you end up in that bad of a spot, it skews what you could do for the next few years to try and dig out of it with bodies and experience and making it all line up. So I'm hopeful we're coming out of that on the back end with wide receiver. I'm about to hurt you though, because what I'm going to say is I think you're going to have Stuckey this year and then he's gone. So then you're going to have that problem because he's been doing a great job. He's going to be gone after this year. They already wanted him last year. He's probably going to be gone. So then that's the next thing you're going to have to deal with in that room.
Well, when you have good coaches, John, that's Marcus's job to have a list of the guys he's looking for next. When you have good coaches, they're going to leave. When they're not that good, they'll stay forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just frustrating, man. One of these times when we have all these guys we like, it'd be nice to win something, you know?
And you know who else you forget about is, I'm sorry, I just do not believe that Styles is going to have that bad a year again. There was something wrong with him last year because as a freshman, he looked amazing.
Yeah.
You forget about him.
Dude, he had a case of the Wimbush-Golson mind problem, where physically I think he was capable of a lot, but something got turned around in all those guys' minds and they couldn't even perform, and it was just like overload. I see a lot of that same thing in Styles, even though he's not a quarterback. A young guy with a lot of physical gifts that just couldn't put it all together. That's what happened with them quarterbacks. The yips, whatever you want to call it, snap out of it, bro.
Okay, so think about it now. You're going to start the season with Sam Hartman as your quarterback. Think about what you had at quarterback. And then your receivers are going to be some kind of combination of Colby, Merriweather, Styles, Thomas, Greathouse, Flores, Tyree. Maybe you'll finally use him right and get him on some jet sweeps and some screens and get him out in open space. And then two very good running backs. The offense is so. How can that not excite you?
Yeah, and you feel pretty good about whatever they're going to come up with at tight end. I'm going to feel pretty good about it. Let me ask you this though. Here's the one thing that could hold this all back. And I don't know if you were on when we were discussing it. I forget who it was with. The only thing that could detract from this would be we're good at the tackles and weak inside, and then you have problems there because you're not going to be able to run the ball the way you want if you're weak up the middle. And if they're getting pressure, up the middle, your tackles don't help you that much on the edges. So I need that to be good enough.
I think it's kind of like tight end. I think we'll just we seem to be able to just kind of plug guys right there.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Yep.
I think there's some guys there waiting. You're hearing real good stuff about that. Well, we know Kristoff played. He's played. You've heard real good stuff about that. Billy Shaw, I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Yep.
From Wisconsin. And Rocco Spindler. That kind of sounds like those are the guys competing. And I heard some stuff, too, about like maybe that Chan. There's a couple of guys that were freshmen last year that could really maybe make some noise at guard, too.
Yeah.
Chan, maybe.
Yeah.
He's playing guard or tackle.
Like, listen, man, I just want it all to come together smoothly. I want an offense that I want an offense that I see on TV and go, this looks like an actual top 10 high-level college offense. They can run the ball with efficiency. They have a quarterback that can pass the ball, guys to catch it. They're in rhythm. They put up a lot of points. They sustain drives. Is that too much to ask? Just give me a real-world offense.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, John. How are you okay the last offensive regime with Kelly and even some of the Reese and Alexander? Look at the teams that were in the playoffs and winning championships. They had receivers all over the place, and we weren't recruiting receivers. Like, wide receivers are a huge deal now. Like, you have to have multiple dudes out there.
Yeah, they can't just be guys either. You need dudes now. They can't just be guys. Like, you need some guys, but you need mostly dudes. There's a big difference.
I mean, just look at all the previous champions. I think Georgia's been the only team that hasn't had just freaks at receiver the last couple of years, but their defense has been all world, so it didn't matter.
Not only that, but they also, I mean, they could run the ball too, and they have a great big offensive line. Like, I mean, they're massive up front, absolutely massive up front on both sides of the ball.
But I wanted to be super positive this week, and just excited when you see actually some high-level college receivers running around. But then when I listen to the show, you bring me down on this defensive line again. And even my dad will call. He's like, "Oh, this is all great, but that defensive line, I don't know."
Bro, I'm going to repeat it. 4 out of our 6 top tacklers from the D line from last year are gone. Over half the sacks are gone. Your leading 2 guys have 33 tackles and 24 in their whole careers. And those are going to be the anchor in the middle of that defense. How do you feel about that? Nobody can tell me not to be nervous about that. It's a fair thing to have anxiety for.
And I saw some stats that, like, defensively, I think we were like 40th in the country, somewhere around there. And we were kind of the same offensively, so that's not good. But between the 20s, our defense was actually really good.
Yeah.
But once you got in the red zone,
second to last in the country.
Terrible.
Second to last in the country. Not just terrible. Second to last in the whole country in allowing touchdowns once the opponent enters your red zone. Completely absurd. Notre Dame has so much talent to be in that spot. Something's gone wrong.
So that tells me they were probably getting tired. So, too, when teams are driving on them, then they just kind of give it up. At the end, they get tired, they get worn out. And that's what I worry about. I think Mills and Cross can be good linemen, but who's coming in for those guys to rotate? That's what I want.
Yeah, that's an issue too. Well, what are you going to have? You have Nana. You're going to have Nana out there doing some stuff. You're going to have Kenan Nana, Junior Tuihalamaka. I don't know who you got. Rubio, like, that's who's behind them, right? Or am I missing something? Isn't that who you're going to have?
Yeah, who's inside? I mean, that's the problem. It's the defensive tackle.
Yeah.
Who's inside? All I can think of is Caleb Williams running that zone read inside and us not being able to keep up with him at all or stop that run. And he hands it off for 7 yards, hands it off for 7. And then the next time he keeps it and there's no one there.
Yep.
It's all on the inside of the defense. That's all I can think of.
I know. And so, listen, the good news is Notre Dame should have a couple weeks when the season begins to be able to work some things out and see what we have and adjust things if you need to. At least you're not playing one of the big 3 the first game and you don't know what you're going to get. You're going to have a little window of time to be able to look at exactly what we have and be able to kind of rejigger things if you need to. But the bodies, we don't have the bodies I think we need.
Maybe there'll be somebody, maybe we could get in that spring portal, like defensive tackle, run stopper guys. I mean, I don't know if that's possible in the spring portal, but I think it's definitely something they need to look into.
I think they were talking about that at safety too, to be honest. I think I read something they were talking about that at safety.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. And then
dude, Adam, let me wait. Listen, dude, I'm nervous about the front 7. I went over my concerns with the linebackers. We all know the depth and weight issues up front. The other thing is, let me ask myself this, and you. Where am I at where at safety I'm laying there at bed thinking maybe the converted wide receiver will be able to shore up that spot? That's not the most comfortable place to be in either, is me going, maybe Watts is the guy that needs to be that dude back there. That makes me a little nervous too.
It's going to be Watts and Henderson, I think. And DJ Brown. Rotate.
See, that gives me a little anxiety too, but I don't know, man. But listen, dude, we're Notre Dame. Wait, we're Notre Dame. When are we ever going to enter a year where I go, you know what? I feel great about the offense and I feel wonderful about the defense. And I love the coaching and the special teams is A+. Can I get 1 year in my existence where everything's trending up and peaking at concurrent times? Adam, do I ask for too much? Why can't we just have 1 year where we go, everything looks great, we're all trending up, let's go win something? Instead of this up, down, up, down.
Well, we need a couple of years of really good recruiting. So the next few years, he's got to get in that top 5 area, top 7. And we need to.
Hey,
it takes time.
That's
look at Georgia. It took them 3 years of top 3 recruiting to get where they are in a row.
Yeah. And that's a whole nother thing, is the recruiting and what 24 is going to look like. How I actually recorded last night with somebody that I'll post in a couple days on the 24 recruiting effort, trying to make up for some of the perceptual losses with the top end of that class not ending up at Notre Dame. How could Freeman tighten up the process and more protect Notre Dame for being held hostage in the 11th hour, the night before signing day, to blank checks? Like, that's a big picture thing too. I hope Freeman is kind of trying to work on that, figure out how to make us less exposed.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. He saw what happened last time. Yeah, you're worried about some of these spots, but we should have had Hillman, Bowen, Keeley, all those guys. If it wasn't for NIL, would have been at Notre Dame.
Adam, they would have all started. You would have had Dante Moore starting. You would have had Keeley coming off the edge. You would have had Bowen as the safety. And then you would have had Hillman as depth or another one. This all feels way different if that happens, but I don't live in a dream world, and reality won't allow us to be happy.
Yeah. Hey, maybe we're just overreacting and that D-line will be fine.
No. Adam, that you just crossed the line. One of the things I've never done here is overreact, all right? Now you take that back. I never overreact. I'm always under complete control. How dare you?
Yeah, maybe we'll be surprised. Maybe we'll be surprised. These young guys will get in there. You'll see Furman, and you'll see Vitello, and maybe get a young tackle in there, surprise you. Maybe Riley Mills will be a lot better inside.
You already know how I feel about Brendan Vernon, and that is a guy I am personally rooting for, him and his family. And whenever he gets his opportunities, he's going to make the most of them. I am not sure if it's going to be year 1, but whenever it is, I'm telling you, that's a guy I'm excited about. And it isn't just physical. He has a mentality way above and more mature than a typical freshman would. He thinks of things the right way, and look out for him.
Yep, Vernon. Who else are a couple D linemen that were here? I mean, there's a bunch of young guys that we haven't seen yet, and that was a good class 2 years ago on defense. So we might be surprised. Yep,
I'm totally open to that. And the other thing is, too, you do have some wiggle room, like philosophically, to say, you know what, it wouldn't be the end of the world if the offense got a lot better and averaged a touchdown more a game off last year's numbers or whatever, and the defense isn't quite as locked down. Like, you can make that work, but I just can't have this defense drop back to where I'm doing a post-game show going, I don't like saying this, but the defense is the reason we lost today. Like, I don't want to have to say that.
I saw some numbers, John, where if the defense just got halfway better in the red zone, then you're a top 15 defense.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Compared to what they did.
Yeah, that's all it takes. Listen, it's got to be a statistical anomaly for Notre Dame to have the talent they had last year and be second to last in allowing touchdowns in the red zone. That tells me you're doing something wrong, because the talent wasn't the issue to that extent. So you need to look at your structure and your scheme down there and or personnel, because that sounds to me like something with a couple tweaks, it could be figured out at least halfway, and then you're in a way better spot right away.
Yeah. So it should be fun moving forward, John. I'm going to let you go. I know you're just about to get off, but I got to go get my teeth drilled. So,
well, gee, that sounds fun. And then, hey, let me know when you want to go to the lighthouse. I haven't been to the lighthouse in a long time. Let me know, and we'll meet you at the lighthouse. We'll go do that.
Every week, man. We're pretty much there every week. So,
oh, look at you. Oh, pulling into the yacht club. Oh, every week we go there. Oh, okay, Captain Fancy Indiana guy.
Oh, God. Be quiet.
All right.
So definitely maybe in the summertime we'll go.
Oh, yeah, they got that patio. You can sit out there in the back, have a drink. Yeah, it'd be nice.
We got our boat dock there, too, so we can go for a little ride and go get some dinner. It'd be great.
Do you really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, man. And then, hey, I'll get with you on the blue and gold. We're going to set something up. I'll get with you on that.
Yeah, definitely. We'll talk to you.
Have a good weekend. Tell the wife I said hi. Have her a call next time.
All right, I will.
Later, bro.
Bye.
Oh, man. People are fired up today on a Friday. All of the callers have been really energetic. We've just had a lot of interaction, and it's beautiful, and I love it. Nick Shepkowski, he's late for today, but damn, this is overdue. Happy Friday, always Irish fam. And Nick Shepkowski reminds me to tell you to go back and type in Fighting Irish Wire and read everything that we are writing about your favorite football team and / university, okay? So that's going to be it, folks. I got a couple other things to do. I'm going to record some other fun stuff that'll come out the next couple days. Enjoy the basketball games. The rest of that, the Masters is around the corner. I'm excited about that. We have Notre Dame spring ball. So everybody have a good weekend. Be safe, be smart, and we'll see you soon.